My name is Awa Joe, a member of the class of 2011 and president of the Alumni Council. It is my distinct honor and privilege to declare these inauguration exercises to open. We will begin these exercises with an invocation offered by Oliver Goodrich, director of the Rachel Lord Center for Religious and Spiritual Life.
Good morning. We gather today to celebrate the new partnership between Bowdoin College and Safa Zaki, which heralds a new chapter in the story of this community, a story that we are all a part of. Today's festivities take place against the backdrop of a world in conflict and full of profound suffering. Your presence here today affirms not only your support of President Zaki, but also of Bowdoin and our educational mission to form wise, ethical, compassionate graduates who are prepared to lead in a world that desperately needs more humane leaders. And so while it may feel difficult to celebrate today, we draw comfort and courage from the fact that what we do here at Bowdoin remains relevant to a world in need. As we begin today's inauguration ceremony, please join me as we invoke a spirit of wisdom and peace upon our shared future. We pause in gratitude this morning, full of thanks for all of those who have led and stewarded the college, preserving this educational heritage over the centuries, despite the challenges brought on by wars, pandemics, economic hardship, and climate change. President Zaki, today we ask a special blessing on you, that you would be filled with wisdom, courage, and compassion commensurate with the opportunities and challenges you will face. Like iron sharpens iron, we hope that the partnership between you and Bowdoin brings out the best in both of you. May our entire community continue to prosper and flourish under this new partnership. May our trustees continue to be wise stewards of our resources as they steer the college through the numerous challenges facing higher education and society at large. May the research done by our faculty and students make us more humane by helping us shed light upon the human condition and by yielding innovative new solutions that we can use in service of the common good. May the care provided by our groundskeepers, our cooks, our coaches, and our entire administrative staff help form the character of this community and nurture our students. May we deepen our commitment to the state of Maine and its people, woods, and waters. May we develop even stronger relationships with our many neighbors here in Brunswick and in the surrounding communities, and especially the people of the Wabanaki Confederacy, who we honor as the original inhabitants of this land. And most importantly, may our students continue to thrive as they discover the joys of a liberal arts education and find their unique place in this diverse residential community that has been shaped by over 2 centuries of Bowdoin alumni. We ask all of this in a spirit of peace. Amen. And may it be so.
Please be seated. Thank you, Oliver, for that moving invocation. Good morning. I'm Scott Perper, a member of the Bowdoin class of 1978 and the current chair of the Bowdoin College Board of Trustees. On behalf of all the trustees, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome all of you to the inauguration of the 16th president of Bowdoin College, Safa R. Zaki. I'm especially pleased to acknowledge and welcome the 75th governor of the state of Maine, Janet Mills, and the first woman woman to serve in that important role. We're so pleased to have you with us today, Governor. Thank you for attending. We're also joined by Maine Representative Poppy Arford, who represents District 101 here in Brunswick. Thank you, Representative Arford, for coming. This is a rare and historic occasion for Bowdoin. Rare because we've only installed 15 previous presidents since our first inauguration in September 1802, on a stage in the Pines, just steps away from where we gather today in that direction. And historic because today we inaugurate the first woman to lead our college. I would like to offer a special welcome to two previous presidents who are with us today. Clayton Rose, who's on stage with us, and Barry Mills, class of 1972, seated in front of me. Thank you, Clayton and Barry, for all you have done for Bowdoin and for being here today. You honor Safa and all of us with your presence. Please also join me in recognizing and thanking Julianne Rose and Karen Gordon Mills. Thanks to both of you for all you have done for Bowdoin too. It is wonderful to have you back at the college. Our 13th president, Bob Edwards and Blythe Edwards, were hoping to be with us today. While they are unable to attend, I'm told they are watching online. Thank you, Bob and Blythe, for your many contributions to Bowdoin and for participating remotely in this joyous event. To Safa's husband, Huff Templeton, and daughters, Adley and Sabrina, welcome officially to the Bowdoin community. And thank you for your partnership and support of Safa through our selection process and going forward. As I look out at all of you under this grand tent, it is wonderful to see so many faculty, staff, and students, our trustees, and so many alumni of the college spanning more than 70 class years. We are also joined by 59 delegates from other colleges and universities, including 11 sitting presidents, by members of the Brunswick and Maine communities, and by Safa's friends and colleagues. Welcome to you all. I am pleased to introduce 5 individuals who will offer greetings to President Zaki at the conclusion of my remarks. For the faculty, Professor Danielle Duby. For the students, Paul Wong of the class of 2024. For the town of Brunswick, Town Council Vice Chair Abby King. For the state of Maine, Olympic champion and member of the class of 1979, Joan Benoit Samuelson. And for the Academy, Williams College President, Maud S. Mandel. We all look forward to your remarks. There is no more important a responsibility for the Board of Trustees than selecting a president. It is careful and time-consuming work, guided, in this case, by search committee co-chairs and trustees, Sidney Asbury of the class of 2003 and Bertrand Garcia Moreno of the class of 1981, with representatives drawn from the trustees, faculty, staff, students, and alumni. Their names are in your program. I cannot possibly express my appreciation strongly enough to this group for their incredible dedication, commitment of time, their openness to listen carefully and consider the views of their fellow committee members, and their focused determination to find the right person to lead this historic institution. In 1977, during my junior year at Bowdoin, I was elected to serve on a previous presidential search committee. Immediately after that vote, I woke up in the middle of the night realizing I had no idea what a college president does, let alone what kind of person would make a great president. So I scheduled a meeting with then President Roger Howe. I went to his office, I explained my quandary to him, and without missing a beat, he leaned back in his chair and he said, "Scott, what you need to find is a person with the hide of a rhinoceros and the soul of a philosopher." Our search committee expanded on those two fundamental qualifications. Through an extensive process, which included over 40 different listening sessions with members of the Bowdoin community, the sum of what we heard was that we needed to also find a person who is committed to the liberal arts, has a deep respect for the academy, an understanding of how to build inclusivity in a diverse community, a team builder, a natural leader who can craft a strategic vision and exercise sound judgment when faced with difficult choices, a person who has a deep understanding of the finances and who can fundraise, an individual who embraces and perpetuates the time-honored values of our college. As we gather here today, and because of the work of our committee led by Sidney and Bertrand, and staffed so ably by Eli Orlick, we know we have found all of those things and more in Safa Zaki. Today, as we celebrate this success, bedecked in splendid regalia, symbolizing the quest for knowledge and the pursuit of excellence, we also reaffirm our college's commitment to its liberal arts education, to diversity and inclusion, and as President McKean described in the first inaugural address, to the common good. While these ceremonies connect us to centuries of tradition, they are also meant to point us to the future. Over the past year, I've had the opportunity to speak with a host of current and retired college presidents and with chairs of other colleges and university boards. 201, they spoke about the tremendous challenges that a college president faces today: financial complexities and sustainability, student mental health, demographic shifts, technological disruptions, a changing landscape for admissions following the recent Supreme Court decision, and I could go on. Of course, Bowdoin and our presidents have faced demanding times in the past while continuing to thrive. In Safa Zaki, we have found a leader who appreciates this history and traditions of our college and the academy, who can meet the challenges of today and tomorrow, and who understands and will exceed the expectations of our community. Safa has now been president for just over 100 days, and during that time, I have received numerous emails and voicemails of pure excitement about her leadership. I have never been more optimistic about the Bowdoin's future, more confident in our faculty and staff, or more excited about the incredible opportunities now and into the future for the amazingly talented students here today and those who we will bring in the years ahead to this special campus on the extraordinary coast of Maine. Thank you, Safa, for answering our call. And on behalf of the entire board, know that we stand ready to support you during your presidency. Congratulations. Thank you, and please welcome Professor Danielle Doobie to this podium.
President Zaki, students, staff, trustees, fellow faculty, and guests. It is an honor to speak here today on behalf of the faculty to welcome President Zaki as our 16th president at Bowdoin. During the Presidential Search Committee listening sessions that I attended last year, when faculty were asked to share what qualities we sought in a president, the faculty spoke with animation about recruiting someone who is an advocate for the liberal arts and humanities, who believes in and protects time for scholarly work, and who understands the importance of building meaningful relationships in our community. We spoke about wanting someone who champions diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging work, who is committed to shared governance and believes in faculty autonomy in the process. We sought someone who would break the mold of college presidents. We are so excited about the outcome of this search. President Zaki has committed her career to being a faculty member at a liberal arts institution, and she cares as deeply about this model of education as the Bowdoin faculty do. She loves spending time in the lab doing her research, and she misses it. She loves getting to know and connect with students, faculty, staff, and the community, and she's begun to do that here. She also believes the best way to protect this type of education is to advocate and fight for it. We admire that and are grateful for it. President Zaki, on behalf of the faculty, I welcome you. We applaud your bravery in stepping into this role at a moment when higher education is being scrutinized and the tenets of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging work are being called into question across the country and around the world. You have our wishes for a successful presidency. We stand ready to work and collaborate with you to achieve a shared vision of what Bowdoin is and what Bowdoin can be. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us to celebrate this historic day for our college. And on behalf of the student body, I'm honored to welcome you, President Zaki, to our community. A distinguished scholar and an incisive leader, a prolific researcher, a fantastic mom, and a loving mentor. A candid friend, trusted colleague, and also, so clearly, an incredible educator. I'm happy to share that our new president is a star in every way. We students are not just excited that our new president is a woman. We're incredibly excited that our new president is this amazing woman. In that regard, please forgive me while I quote from everyone's least favorite website, ratemyprofessor.com. One Williams student writes of President Zaki, "Professor Zaki is brilliant and makes you appreciate cognitive psychology and other seemingly uninteresting topics, whether you are planning to or not." Another writes, "She doesn't give up until you really understand and love the material right alongside her." And my personal favorite, "She loves what she does and cares deeply about her students. She goes about teaching with an unusually good sense of humor." Brilliance, passion, commitment, care, and humor. Those are the same qualities we celebrate in each other here at Bowdoin. Those are the things I love most about my friends, about my professors, and about our amazing staff. President Zaki exemplifies the qualities we celebrate in our community. Last spring, the Presidential Search Committee found someone deeply committed to the liberal arts. They found someone unafraid of difference or discomfort, someone willing to entertain the questions that linger past a designated meeting time, past the confines of an office, of campus, or even of Maine. They found a candidate grounded in deep listening, perception, and dialogue, a person superlatively perfect for this job. Oh, and she's a woman, and she's funny and relatable, and she already lives in a wintry place arguably less exciting than Boston or New York. How incredibly lucky we are. But as I look out and see all of you here to celebrate, as I eat and laugh with my friends around a table in Thorne tonight, how incredibly lucky she is too. While our world is growing increasingly polarized, President Zaki studies how and why we crave categorization. While our world is grappling with transformation from artificial intelligence, she studies just how complex and how human our brains are. While higher education faces attacks from all sides, she is a defender and accomplished practitioner of this incredible model, an education built on connections, fueled by genuine relationships, and brought to life with character, integrity, and a commitment to growth. As students, we're only on campus for 4 fleeting years. Yet still, in my short time, I'm struck by how much I love this community, by how transformative my experience has been. In inaugurating President Zaki, we are entrusting her with stewarding a cherished institution and memories that we will hold close to heart. Yet, looking at President Zaki's stellar resume, speaking with her about her unfaltering passion for Bowdoin and the liberal arts, and most importantly, seeing the lasting impression and ineffable excitement she has left on me and on all my peers, I am so excited to trust her leadership completely. At Bowdoin, we root for each other. President Zaki, on behalf of the student body, both now and in the years to come, tackling issues big and small, we're all rooting for you. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Abby King. I serve as Vice Chair of the Brunswick Town Council. I am greatly honored to be here today celebrating the inauguration of the 16th President of Bowdoin College. On behalf of the citizens of Brunswick, I joyfully welcome President Safa Zaki and her partner Huff Templeton to our community. First incorporated as a town in 1739, Brunswick grew rapidly, benefiting from the collective knowledge of its citizens, working in the industries of fishing, farming, lumber, and shipbuilding. With the addition of Maine's first Institute of Higher Learning, Bowdoin College, in 1794, Brunswick would become a 19th century epicenter of neoteric thought, with contributions from people both born in Maine and those arriving in association with the college. People like Harriet Beecher Stowe, who wrote her seminal abolitionist novel, Uncle Tom's Cabin, right here on Federal Street, and Bowdoin graduate John Brown Russwurm, the third Black man to graduate from an American college and the founder of Freedom's Journal, the nation's first Black-owned newspaper. Throughout the 20th century, Town and Gown have hosted some of the nation's most progressive thinkers, including Jane Addams, Eleanor Roosevelt, Dr. Martin Luther King, Senator George Mitchell, and Geoffrey Canada. Collectively, Brunswick and Bowdoin have been home to explorers, scientists, inventors, Pulitzer Prize winners, Olympic medalists, senators, and social activists. Not bad for a small town and an even smaller college in one of the nation's most remote states. But geography aside, it is truly through this shared legacy of societal trailblazing that the town of Brunswick and Bowdoin College are irrevocably linked. That is not to say that our shared path has always been smooth. The college and town have at times disagreed on a range of topics, from budget allocations to local land use. And yet, through clear communication, dedication to our shared values, and an authentic appreciation for which each entity brings to the table, a fruitful and valued relationship has endured. Today's Brunswick is not the town that existed 5 or even 10 years ago. When the Brunswick Naval Air Station closed in 2011, there were many who feared that this would be the end of our town. But what we lost in identity as a Navy town, we have gained as a college town. For the first time, our population numbers are back to pre-base closure levels. And most significantly, with the impact of COVID, the effects of climate change, and shifting immigration patterns, we are welcoming more new residents than ever before. With 21 different languages now spoken in our public schools, we are as culturally diverse a town as we have ever been. And with this transition comes the opportunity to reactivate Brunswick's long-standing identity as a community dedicated to humanist values, while also embracing the economic and social progress a diverse population brings. It is as exciting a time as the town has ever seen, and as with any transition, a challenging one as well. And yet I am confident beyond measure that by working in collaboration, Brunswick and Bowdoin will navigate this era of transition together and come out the stronger for it. President Zaki, when the announcement of your election was made, I eagerly read the statement issued by the board seeking any information that would indicate the style of leadership you would bring to our town. Phrases such as uniquely positioned to lead for the 21st century and commitment to the imperatives of diversity, equity, and inclusion immediately jumped out to me. We are so fortunate to have someone of your expertise, experience, and priorities join our community. And on behalf of the council, we greatly look forward to working together to navigate and grow through the transformative times ahead. I will end with a few words of advice for President Zaki and her family on how to enjoy life as a newcomer to Brunswick and to Maine. I thought it best to go straight to the source, so please enjoy these words of wisdom from Miss Beatty's second grade class at our own Kate Furbish Elementary. Maine is a good place to live because there are lots of lakes to swim in and mountains to go on. There is ice cream. There are cool schools, which I'm sure referred to Bowdoin. Someone new to Brunswick should definitely go to the library first, or maybe the farmer's market. Be ready for the lupins. It is important to know that in Maine, winter is really cold. You should wear a jacket. Also, there are no poisonous snakes, which I Googled, and that is true. Try to be kind and make new friends. Make sure you say jokes to them. And finally, my best advice for a new college president is to make sure you don't turn the wrong corner, get enough sleep, and always, always have snacks. Thank you.
Today's musical interlude, Zephyr, was composed especially for this installation ceremony by Professor of Music, Investiture. There are details about his inspiration for this piece in your program. It is my pleasure to invite Anya Workman from the class of 2025 and George Lopez, Beckwith Artist in Residence, to debut Vincenti's Zephyr for us today.
What a banner Maine day. Certainly not like every day in our state. This morning at exactly 6:46, the first sunlight to fall upon our country greeted some exuberant hikers in Acadia National Park. Approximately 5 minutes later, it began to smile on about 3,500 miles of the famous rock-bound coast of Maine and more than 3,100 coastal islands. And then, at 6:53 a.m., it struck Hawthorne Longfellow Hall and President Safa Zaki's office, only to find the Bowdoin sun already ablaze with a welcoming warmth that we all feel today. President Zaki, it is with generous enthusiasm and joy that I can call you and Huff Mainers, or Mainas in the authentic Maine vernacular. I fervently believe that as you and Maine become better acquainted, it will become obvious that your values, your character, and your steadfast approach are reflected perfectly in this great state many of us here today call home. Like you, the Pine Tree State listens more than it talks. From the great North Woods to the whispering pines here on our beloved campus, a quiet confidence. No need to boast, our state speaks for itself. And like you, Safa, when Maine does speak, it does so unpretentiously, and people naturally want to be part of an uncommon good. Even with a formidable coastline, its many bays and inlets accommodate tides of change while protecting a state known for its resilience, openness, and broad thinking, just like Bowdoin College. May the moral and physical beauty of this great institution and this stalwart state be forever intertwined and rooted with ambition and strength to provide opportunities for those seeking to serve the common good. Your leadership at Bowdoin will assure that the Maine State motto, Dare Go, meaning I lead, rings true here on the Bowdoin campus and echoes long and far. Safa, Maine is tolerant and friendly, where professionals in Portland wear bean boots and farmers from Bingham to Berwick take time to chat with their customers at farmers markets across the state. New Mainers are quickly becoming Mainers as our state grows, flexes, and nurtures. Your proven ability to be at home in all lands and your wish to bring one's whole self to Bowdoin opens up opportunities for a new chapter in Bowdoin's rich and storied history. Let our hope be that the roots that are well-grounded and nourished on this campus continue to branch out into the greater Maine community, helping to foster and assure diversity, equity, inclusion, and environmental justice for all. May Bowdoin and Safa raise songs to harmonize with the voices of Maine that proudly sing, together Maine and Bowdoin comprise a guiding and shining light for students, alumni, and the people of this great state to do what's right. It gives me immense pride to offer greetings from our state to Bowdoin's first woman president. After 229 years, Safa becomes only the 16th president of this cherished college. How sweet it is.
Thank you, Joni. It is now my pleasure to introduce Maud S. Mandel, president of Williams College and an accomplished historian, to present greetings from the Academy. Dr. Mandel joined Williams as its president in 2018, 2 years before she would appoint Safa Zaki, dean of the faculty there. Prior to Williams, Dr. Mandel was at Brown University, arriving in 1997 as a visiting assistant professor in the history department, before becoming professor of history and Judaic studies, and later dean of the college. She's devoted her scholarship to examining how policies and practices of inclusion and exclusion in 20th century France have affected ethnic and religious minorities, most notably Jews, Armenians, and Muslim North Africans. Her work in this area has been recognized with fellowships from the National Endowment for the Humanities, the American Council of Learned Societies, and the American Philosophical Society, among others. She earned her bachelor's degree at Oberlin College and her master's degree and doctorate in history from the University of Michigan. This past June, when she bestowed upon then Dean Zaki an honorary degree from the institution she had so proudly served for more than 2 decades, President Mandel called our new president a brilliant scholar and gifted administrator. We could not agree more. Please join me in welcoming the president of Williams College, Maud S. Mandel.
So before beginning my formal remarks, I will say on the many things that Safa has done before coming here, she served on the search committee that brought me to Williams. Good luck. President Zaki, Bowdoin trustees, faculty, students, administrators, and staff, alumni, families, and neighbors and supporters. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today to celebrate Safa Zaki's installation as your president. When I became president of Williams, our board chair asked the college not to heavily emphasize the fact of my being a woman. As he put it, "You're our new president, not our new woman president." And indeed, Safa is your wonderful new president. But as one first just president to another, I have to say, yay. We've come some way in rethinking who can lead a great college or university, but it bears noting that distance was toward parity. In the 230-year history of our schools, or 229 respectively, 2 general types of progress are entwined. One involves overcoming barriers. For example, a school choosing its first woman president. By the way, also its first cognitive scientist, and I think the first woman born in Egypt as well, as far as I know. And there are many other ways of being first, and Safa's covering a lot of them. And incidentally, speaking of our shared history, I'm proud that the fanfare for Bowdoin played at your bicentennial convocation in 1993 was written by a Williams faculty member, Robert Soderberg. The bonds of friendship between Williams and Bowdoin run deep. If we could only do something about this hockey thing. Anyway, if one kind of progress is toward parity, the other looks further ahead. It's the kind that considers humanity's rich potential and asks, what's possible? Where can we go from here? The latter is the kind that I think that will make the presidency especially gratifying to someone like Safa. She is an ideal leader for a liberal arts college, an institution which at its core is committed to the transnational and trans-historical project of expanding the boundaries of human knowledge. In preparing to address you today, I read the Bowdoin's original offer of the college from 1906. In it, President Hyde said the outcomes of a Bowdoin education should include, among other things, carrying the keys of the world's library in your pocket, feeling its resources behind you in whatever task you undertake, losing yourself in generous enthusiasms, and cooperating with others for common ends. What wonderful commitments. Like you, Safa finds joy. And for Safa, I do believe this work is joyous, in encouraging students to take their ideas further and in different directions than she and they ever imagined. This encouragement of generous enthusiasms distinguishes higher education from almost every other field except perhaps religion. And that's because at its heart, education is a spiritual enterprise, as well as an intellectual and developmental one. Learning pierces the isolation of basic existence. It shows us in our broadest company as participant in worlds that are social and economic and psychological and aesthetic and physical and ecological, among others. Education is the means by which we reaffirm the existence of the community that we call humanity. It's how we extend our ambition, our hope, and our reach, if not our grasp. I am an inherent optimist, so I don't want to dwell on the threats to our project, but they are real. Some come from outside forces that either don't appreciate education's power or want to monopolize it. Some come from places very far away from here. Others come from inside. My family and I recently saw a billboard when we were driving that said, "Don't believe everything you think." It was actually advertising a new book's title, but the phrase really stuck with me, and it's so apt. Don't believe everything you think. Education is the work of challenging people to question what they think as well as what others think. Safa, like her new faculty colleagues here, understands that principle and will be a great partner to you in your work. I do want to close with a little bit more of a personal reflection about Safa. I don't know what it was like to grow up in 1960s Egypt, or what it was like to live as an expat in a new African nation, or to help transform an entire academic discipline. But I do know someone who does, who is, to quote from the offer, at home in all lands and in all ages. Her range of life experience and intellectual exploration has helped Safa develop a gift for understanding. It sometimes looks like a lot of empathy, and she is highly empathetic. But it's actually, truly, the expression of a generous intellect, one that's not constrained by customary boundaries. Education is about seeking a deeper humanity, and Safa is a humane educator. She will be an equally humane president. So as Bowdoin pushes forward in that intergenerational, international, cross-historical, and intercultural project of expanding human knowledge, I know she will set a standard for the appreciation of others' work, even while remaining open to the criticism of her own work that just comes with the job. Her sights will never stray from our goal of teaching students the joys of generous enthusiasms and of cooperation for the common good. Thank you, and congratulations on your superb choice as president.
Thank you, President Mandela. That was great. And now the moment that's brought us all here. Safa Zaki, by virtue of the authority invested in me as chair of the Board of Trustees of Bowdoin College, and by virtue of your election by a vote of the trustees, I now deliver to you the seal of the college. The charter. And the keys. One minute. And hereby invest you with all the rights and privileges pertinent thereto, I pronounce you the president of Bowdoin College.
Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to be with all of you today, to see so many people here. I have to say, I'm just so honored. And who knew this came with jewelry? I am beyond honored to be serving as Bowdoin's 16th president. Beginning with my conversations with the search committee, I have learned again and again that Bowdoin is a very special place. It's special in large part because of the open-hearted people who make up this community. So many of you here today have welcomed and helped me in these last few months, and I'm so grateful for that. I want to thank a few people in particular. Governor Mills, thank you for coming. It's such an honor to have you here, and it means so much to me. Scott Perper, thank you for your enthusiasm about my appointment and for your wisdom, insight, and support. Clayton and Julianne Rose, thank you for such a warm welcome and for your generous partnership in this transition. I'm so grateful to the members of the search committee and to the Board of Trustees for your trust in me. You have handed me the keys to a college that could not be stronger, more vital, or better positioned for even greater things ahead. The foundation we stand on today at Bowdoin has been built by so many people, including Clayton Rose and Julianne Rose, as well as Barry Mills and Karen Gordon Mills, all of whom are here today, and by Bob and Blythe Edwards, who had hoped to be with us. I am so grateful to all of them. Thanks also to those of you who've welcomed me today with your greetings. Maud Mandel, your words mean so much to me. You are a friend and a mentor for whom I have the greatest respect and admiration. Joan Benoit Samuelson, not only are you a champion athlete, you're also a champion for Maine. Thank you for so eloquently connecting our college and its values to this beautiful state and its extraordinary people. And thank you, Abby King, for your warm welcome on behalf of our town. In our short time here, Huff and I have marveled at the vitality of Brunswick, the friendliness of our neighbors, and the powerful connection between our town and our college. Paul Wong, I don't know what to say. Thank you for your kind words and your leadership. You and your fellow students are why we are all here. I've loved talking with so many of you and look forward to so many more conversations. And Danielle Doobie, thank you for representing the faculty today with your thoughtful and eloquent and kind remarks. I am honored to join your ranks. Awa Joe, our Grand Marshal, I so appreciate that you have traveled all the way from Paris to participate in these exercises, and I'm so glad you're here. Oliver Goodrich, your invocation was beautiful and moving. Thank you so much. And thank you to Vincendi and the other wonderful musicians and to all of our marshals. I'm also so grateful to the delegates who've joined us from colleges and universities across the country, to my colleagues from Williams, and to the alumni and community members, mentors, family, and friends who are here today or watching online. I am so grateful to my family, including my mother, father, my sister, and brother who are no longer with us. And thank you to Huff, Adley, Sabrina, and Darea. You've always believed in me, and I want you to know that I am stronger for it and that I believe in you. Finally, thank you to the Bowdoin staff who work so incredibly hard every day and with so much heart on behalf of the college. Thank you in particular to the members of the Inauguration Planning Committee and all of the staff who have organized this weekend's events, who arranged for this gigantic tent, set up all the chairs, manicured the lawns, polished our buildings, and prepared our delicious meals, and worked through so many other details, demonstrating once again that this is an extraordinary community. Please join me in a round of applause for all they have done. I know that many people have opened doors for me, some of whom are here today. Rob Nosofsky, my mentor and collaborator, you are one of those people. As president, I am deeply committed to finding ways to continue to open doors, both for our students who are here at Bowdoin now and for our future students who may not see a well-trodden path to get here, but who can contribute so much to our community and to the world. I have heard from so many of you how meaningful it is to have a woman president. Standing on the stage today, that meaning is something I feel intensely as well. It was 80 years ago, in the middle of World War II, that 3 women, Marion Holmes, Ruth Yeaton, and Marguerite Little, became the first women to teach at Bowdoin. 51 years ago, Bowdoin hired Helen Cafferty as an instructor of German, and she became the first female faculty member to go through the ranks. And I'm honored that she is in the audience today. Years ago, Matilda White Riley was hired as a full professor of sociology, becoming the first female full professor on campus. 42 years ago, Roz Bernstein, who was then a member of the Board of Overseers, became the first woman elected to the Board of Trustees. And 10 years ago, Debbie Barker became the first woman to chair the Board of Trustees. Women students also laid the groundwork for this moment, beginning with Susan Jacobson, a transfer student who in 1971 was the first woman to graduate from Bowdoin. A full 99 years after Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain called for the co-education in his inaugural address. That same year that Susan Jacobson graduated, Bowdoin saw the matriculation of its first coeducational class, welcoming 134 women to the class of 1975. I know the work these women and so many other women that I've not named did, and I can only imagine the courage it required. The determination and bravery of so many other women, faculty, staff, students, and alumni over the years laid the foundation for this moment, which is not mine so much as it is ours. I describe this history at some length because it reminds us that Bowdoin is a place that is shaped both by its deep traditions and by its openness to change. It reminds us of the work that so many have done to make Bowdoin a stronger and more inclusive community, and it reminds us of the work that lies ahead. The important work of continuing to open doors and make this place ever more accessible is work that I'm eager to do along with all of you. Each of us is, of course, more than one thing. I am the first woman president of Bowdoin, but I'm also the first president who was not born in the Western Hemisphere. And I'm the first cognitive scientist. You had that right, Maud. Each of us is more than one thing, and these different parts of my identity will undoubtedly shape my approach to this role. I want to talk today about the work I hope we will do together the meaning and the transformative possibilities of that work, along with the challenges. I'm going to talk about two things I've been thinking a lot about: the meaning and the value of the liberal arts, and the challenges and the opportunities of artificial intelligence, and the relationship between those two things. At Convocation, I spoke about how I think of the liberal arts in terms of its sound. I talked about the ways you can hear the richness of the full Bowdoin curriculum in every classroom, as students voice ideas in one class that they encountered in another, taking ideas from philosophy into biology, from music theory to French, from literature to psychology. The entire Bowdoin curriculum is audible in conversations across campus. That sound, the sound of different ideas, different perspectives, different ways of knowing, different disciplinary lenses, different life experiences. That's the sound of the liberal arts. It's a symphony we can only make together. It's the sound of students and faculty taking ideas and trying to solve problems from the vantage point of many different disciplinary and interdisciplinary lenses. You can hear the sound in every classroom, in dining halls and residential houses, on athletic fields, and in other campus spaces. I can tell you from my own experience, teaching psychology and cognitive science classes, that students approach the material with questions that come from wide-ranging fields. And their questions make every new iteration of every course different and differently illuminating. For me, these unexpected questions from students would sometimes find their way into the research in my lab. This polyphony of perspectives and classroom conversations that I'm describing is, I know, familiar to the audience today. That sound, the sound of the liberal arts, doesn't just exist. It needs to be made. It's made through practice and discipline, through slow, patient, and sometimes difficult work. The work of reading unfamiliar texts, the work of struggling through complex problem sets, the work of learning a new language, the work of data collection and analysis, the work of bench research, and the work of mastering a difficult piece of music. This sound is also made through the quiet research, scholarship, and creative work done by faculty in labs, archives, libraries, studios, and communities. It resonates in conversations among those faculty at seminars, colloquia, and workshops, and in the dissemination of that scholarship in journals, books, and classrooms. And it's also the sound made through human connection, of one person wanting to deeply know another person, to understand another person's point of view and life experience, no matter how different they are. Some of you have heard me talk about my childhood, which was spent growing up in many different places. My parents encouraged us to be open to and excited about learning from the people we met and the places we lived, a value that has profoundly enriched my personal and professional life. Ours is a community of people from many different places who have different life experiences and who hold different beliefs and practice different traditions. It's one of the great gifts of a place like this. Elizabeth Alexander's poem, Ars Poetica 100, I Believe, is a poem about the teaching of and meaning of poetry, and ends with this question: are we not of interest to each other? To me, the emphatic answer to that question is that yes, we are of interest to each other. We must be of interest to each other. A core value of a liberal arts education is that interest in each other, our communities, and the worlds we live in. The problems that define our time must be of interest to us. I know that belief and the practice of that belief is in Bowdoin's DNA. At the highest level, that value is expressed through our commitment to the common good, as articulated in 1802 by Bowdoin's first president, Joseph McKean, in his inauguration address. This idea is, of course, familiar to this audience, but it's worth quoting McKean's words. It ought always be remembered that literary institutions are founded and endowed for the common good and not for the private advantage of those who resort to them for education. It's not that they may be enabled to pass through life in an easy or reputable manner, but that their mental powers may be cultivated and improved for the benefit of society. So how do we do that cultivation? At the most basic level, we do it through our curricular requirements: 32 classes, at least one major, at least one course in 5 distribution areas, and 3 divisions, and a first-year writing seminar. Our students complete these requirements by taking courses in different departments and programs. 100 years ago, the course catalog listed just 13 departments. 50 years ago, the catalog listed 23 departments and programs. Our students now take courses offered by 33 departments and programs. This is all to say that our curriculum has evolved and expanded, as have our requirements. The catalog 25 years from now will almost certainly include different requirements and new areas of study, ones we can't yet identify. These curricular changes will be led by our faculty, as we hire faculty in emerging disciplines and fields that cross disciplines, as the interests of our faculty grow and shift, and as our faculty oversee the curriculum through our model of shared governance, the sound of the curriculum will change. What will remain constant is our commitment to ensuring that students gain a depth and breadth of knowledge and skills, that they know how to ask good questions, and that they know how to try to answer those questions. As too many colleges and universities across the country are cutting or shrinking departments and programs, I can tell you that Bowdoin remains fully committed to offering our students access to the widest range of disciplines and to the fullest scope of knowledge that we can. The connection between those granular graduation requirements that I listed and the elevated mission of the common good is our belief that understanding the world, and thus doing good in the world, is only possible through multiple lenses, ways of knowing, and disciplinary perspectives. That multiplicity is a requisite for knowing oneself, knowing others, asking questions, and solving the most complex problems facing us today. We are today in the midst of a technological revolution. Artificial intelligence is the kind of change that is so vast, so disruptive, so spread into every type of work and industry, in almost every facet of life, that understanding it, using it, and regulating it requires attention from thinkers in so many disciplines, as I hope you heard from our panelists yesterday. Some might argue that the proliferation of artificial intelligence will make this kind of education less relevant. I think it will make it more powerful. We need more than ever students who understand ethics, who understand complexity, contingency, who welcome and learn from multiple perspectives, who resist flattened out explanations. AI is here to stay. It's going to be, it already is, a part of society and a part of educational institutions. Given that, the question I invite us to ask together is, what do recent developments in AI mean for a community that is dedicated to the liberal arts, to the common good, to asking questions and solving problems? and to being of interest to each other? What does AI mean for the kind of education we practice and believe in at Bowdoin? I strongly believe that we at Bowdoin are ideally positioned for this challenge. Because of our practice of living and learning in community, because of our deep commitment to the liberal arts, we are ideally positioned for the collaborative work of thinking about what humans are going to value in human cognition going forward, of appreciating what human creativity and human imagination can do that cannot be replaced by computer models, of leaning into the fact that human relationships and conversations are what generate real learning, and of puzzling through the ways that AI can serve our students and serve our mission. More than ever, we need individuals who, on their feet, can tell the difference between a generative question and a static question, between a good argument and a bad argument, and between information and misinformation. That's what we teach here every day. While it's true that computers can now output an essay in a matter of seconds, we know, as teachers and as scholars, that writing is not just about output. We know that the iterative process of thinking and writing is often more important than the final product. Or put it another way, the act of thinking can be the final product. We need to help our students recognize that the cost of not developing their own arguments, their own thinking, their own writing is self-knowledge. And that's a very high price, one that I really believe our students do not want to pay. I go back to Elizabeth Alexander's question, are we not of interest to each other? A related question might be, are we not of interest to ourselves? Do we not want to know what we think? I believe our students want this self-knowledge, as well as the understanding of others that can only come through slow, hard thinking. So I'm not worried that AI is going to replace our need to think or our desire to think. But a different question is whether there are good and useful things that AI will allow us to do in our classrooms and in our research. I don't have the answer to this question, although I do know that there's not a single answer. And I know that we have at Bowdoin faculty members and students and staff who are going to figure this out together. Our faculty are tuned into the learning processes and experience, are tuned to our students' needs and interest, and are committed to building our students' analytical and creative capacities. That is our comparative advantage. This is all to say that I don't believe AI poses a fundamental threat to what we do here, which is intensely focused on human iteration, on process, and on relationships. We know from cognitive science that processing information deeply and through multiple pathways leads to a greater ability to remember and deploy that knowledge. That idea, which cognitive scientists call depth of processing, is practiced every day in our classrooms and across the community. Ironically, it turns out that humans are the original deep learners. But while I don't believe that AI will undermine our core mission, I want to address something that I see as a potential threat to what we do here. The threat of seeing a Bowdoin education, or any kind of education, as transactional rather than transformational. Americans' confidence in the value of higher education as a worthwhile investment has eroded of late, despite the evidence we have about its positive impact on people's lives. I certainly don't want to pretend this isn't a serious investment. Of course it is. A financial investment from students, parents, and families, and from our dedicated and generous alumni. It's also, though, a personal investment of curiosity, imagination, and hard work from our students, and of the passion, expertise, and hard work of our faculty and staff. That investment, I deeply believe, will prove itself worth it. In the ways that we build lives full of people and full of meaning, and in the ways that we work towards the common good. I began with thank yous, and I will end with some as well. I want to thank you all for the warm welcome I have received since my very first visit last March. And I want to thank you in advance for the conversations we'll be having about the work we do together. Some of those conversations will undoubtedly be challenging. We won't always agree. But every conversation is an opportunity to contribute to the sound of the liberal arts, to embrace the challenge of being of interest to each other, and to accept the gift of learning through our differences. I am eager to do that work together. Thank you.
Thank you all once again for sharing in this celebration today. Please join us for the luncheon on Co-Quad immediately following the ceremony. I do ask that you remain seated until the conclusion of the recessional, which will be accompanied by music from Duo Mundi. I now declare the inauguration exercises of Bowdoin's 16th president, President Safa Zaki, to be completed.